Hey guys, Angry British Conservative here today, and again, this is not a rant video or podcast this week. It's just a slight observation which I've been thinking about for the last couple of minutes, and I like reviewing ideas back and forth in my head before I actually hit the record button. And I'm sure we all are political types, listen to all different multiple media sources and everything else. But here's the thing. Have we literally forgot common sense completely? Or like have short-term memory loss on everything? I mean, I seen a poll just recently on Twitter saying who is the fault for Britain in the last couple of years and all that jazz. You know, who's the worst political party in Britain? That's pretty much what it was. Quote. And 76% of that, if not more, voted for the Conservative Party. Now, the Conservative Party, yes, don't get me wrong, I'm ashamed of myself, and I think Rishi Sunak deserves to be kicked out, but that's beside the point. Now, let's just take a recap, okay? During the years of 1999 to 2002 was the years where we sold our gold reserves. Some of it, anyway. About £13 billion worth, give or take. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is Labour was in power then, and remind me again who dragged us into Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, and Syria in 2007, and from 2001, right the way up to
okay. I found this on the web from 2007.
Really,
Check
Siri?
it out.
You pick your moments, don't you? Anyway, that would be Siri, everyone. Thanks, Siri, I think. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is it's the whole point. We dragged ourselves into that war unnecessarily. It was an illegal war, not approved by Parliament, under the Prime Ministership of Tony Blair. David Cameron has never dragged us into an illegal war for all his faults and buckling under the pressure and running off after because he didn't get the result he wanted. Because the EU, it's got nothing to do with our illegal war in Afghanistan, which, to be frankly honest with you, Tony Blair, under a Labour government, dragged us into with George Bush. Because why not? After 9/11, I mean, to be frankly honest with you, that's a very can of worms I'm not even going to go into. But I'll be honest with you, metal beams don't melt like that. Okay, I can make a whole podcast about that if you want me to, and we'll be here until the life of me of the end of days. But the point I'm getting is, that was under a Labour government. And not only that, another point I would like to talk about and address of the idea of forgetful memory and all that is Piers Morgan. He's on Talk TV now after he lost his job ages ago, a couple of months back on Good Morning Britain for having a bit of an upset. But before that, where did he used to work? Remind me, last I remember, he was working in America for CNN, which is the most left-wing propaganda machine ever created in the United States when it concerns brainwashing the media. People. He worked for CNN, and last I checked, he tried to destroy Alex Jones. Now, does anyone remember who he is? You might think he's a conspiracy theorist and all that. Say what you will about him, but he does care about the American rights of the Constitution, of the Second Amendment. And there is a point where he interviewed him, and he was acting like a complete left-wing socialist. And I'm going to be real with you. And now he's on Talk TV and acting like he's all the good guy and everything else. That is one for the people talking common sense. Now, don't get me wrong. He does make some valid points. Maybe he has turned around. I mean, after all, he did write a book called Wake Up. I have read some of it. It's actually not too bad. But the point I'm getting is, have we forgot what he used to do? I mean, here's a picture right here of what him on CNN with Alex Jones. And I think it was back just as Obama was elected into office. You make of that what you will. And by the way, if you're listening to this on audio, I recommend you going to my actual YouTube, Angry British Conservative, and you will see the picture of what I'm on about yourself. But it's just getting out of hand. It's like we all forgot what people do and what people stand for. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Conservatives, for the last, I think it's 13 years now, correct me if I'm wrong, have been in office, and under David Cameron, they didn't do much, to be honest with you. And don't even get me started on Theresa May. She was an absolute whitewash of what she could have been. I thought she'd be the next Margaret Thatcher, but no, we were given someone who didn't do anything credible. I think she may have brought back grammar schools. I can't remember, but I can't say what she did was anything useful. She was, if anything, a placeholder. And then we had Boris Johnson, didn't we? Theresa May, Boris Johnson, yes. For all his intents and purposes, he meant well, but frankly speaking, no, really. He didn't have any confidence in himself, confidence to see through the end of things to fight off the opposition properly, because frankly speaking, he got us a landslide and that was it. He only got us a landslide because, to be frankly honest with you, the opposition, under a communist government, socialist, Jeremy Corbyn, who's an IRA sympathiser, might I add, seriously, come on now, get a grip. Who else was it? Liz Truss, was on it? After Boris Johnson? I mean, she acted far too quickly, with the markets and everything else. She expected everything done within a week or 2 week period. Sadly to say, her plans obviously fell through, and then we're left with Rishi Sunak. Don't even get me started on him. He's not even a Conservative. Anything but. But if we take our minds back, before David Cameron, Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, John Major, which, to be frankly honest with you, is an absolute tool of the Conservative Party, if there ever was one. All he did, John Major, might I add, when he was in office, in my opinion, was be a good mediator between Diana and our current king, King Charles. Princess Diana, sorry, forgive me. But that's all he was, a good mediator. Last I checked, that wasn't looking after public opinion, public policy, was it now? Or domestic issues. Sorry, I guess it did turn into a rant. But how short of a memory do we have in this world? People need to either wake up or suffer the consequences. And frankly speaking, we're going to suffer the consequences. It's pathetic, really. We're going to suffer major consequences. And I'm going to call it right now. Next year is a general election over here in the United Kingdom, and I honestly believe Labour will win by a landslide, or it will be a coalition with the Liberal Democrats, or by God's grace, somehow Rishi Sunak changes his way and we have a Conservative government for another 5 years. But I doubt that. Anyways, I'll see you all later in the next podcast. This one's a bit deep, but it's worth noting down. Alright, take care guys. Bye.